Hello, you beautiful people. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you guys are, and welcome to another episode of Improving Your Watercolors with Sunil Kalbandi. Today, I'm going to do loose watercolor sketches of people on the side, and I'm planning to do two more episodes of people from the front, people from the side, and then maybe I'll throw in people with pets as well. So I would think these would add to a really good cityscapes module. And again, to start with, I've got a simple 300 gram Saunders paper. I've kept it at an inclination. I have two can of beans to give a slope. I have four synthetic brush, especially for lab people. I would prefer synthetic brush. These are Jackson, really cheap synthetic brush I bought about 8 years ago. They still do the work. And I have a small mop. This is a Pro Arte number 0. And my weapon of choice, or a pencil I generally use, is a Faber-Castell TK9400. These are the main paper. And on my right I have John Pike Big Well palette. And I always carry a roll of tissue, two bottles of water. One is slightly cleaner than the other, and I have a little bit of sponge just to soak up excess liquid. Without further ado, let's start how to draw people from the side. These are loose sketches with minimum details, which gives you perception of how to draw. So the first image, yeah, I'm just trying to draw about that height. So pay attention that I'm not doing any detail. And sketches, there's the lady's bag, and then there's a jacket. And then there's the shoes, roughly. That's about, so you can see her arm. And I would just leave it that. Okay, and then there's another couple. So I usually like to draw a reference. That's the head. Then his jacket. And nothing, okay, as you notice, I'm not paying attention to details, but I'm just still trying to make it look like a person. You know what I mean? So a little bit of less details, and his shoulders starts about there, and that's and I usually, if I'm painting on my own, I don't draw it this dark. Just for the painting, I'm making it a bit more darker. So that you guys can have a look. So I'm just using some references compared to that drawing, just to give. And especially with the skirt, it's easy. It high selects, you don't have to worry about. And from the hip, there's a leg, which comes out here. And the other leg is hidden, and there is also a satchel bag. And I'm happy with that. And this other thing is old lady. So her head is a little blonde. So, and there's a shoulder. That's fine. Okay, and then there is an old man with a hat. So, roughly thereabouts. As you can see, it's a drawing of economy or very little detail. Still gives you a feel what you could do. And then there's got a glasses, which I'm not putting in any of the details. It's just going to be a simple wash. And I know in the photo there's a group of people, but I'm going to just do one or two in the surface. Let's do a guy with a backpack. So he's got his and we'll add on the guy in the background. It's him. I've got a couple of bands, and he's put his hand in the pocket. That's it. So we'll quickly go through the colors are not super important. We're just using similar colors. We'll see how it goes. And always have a little bit of tissue in hand. I always do, so that if there's a leak or something I don't like, I can always come back and then put it back. So here we go. So I'm going to use a little bit of burnt sienna now. There's already a little bit on the palette, and so I usually let it run. So it's good to have the paper at an angle so that it can run, to be honest. And I'll add a little bit of red to the face. And there's a little bit of burnt umber to the back. It's all good. I like that it's bleeding. There's a jacket. And there's a little bit of greenish brown. I'm keeping my paper as wet as possible, and I'm letting it bleed. And I'm taking a little bit of red, and I'm coming in for a hand. Gives you a suggestion. And a little bit of gray for the shoes to bleed in. And I will come back and then I'll add a little bit of highlights and a shadow once. That's it. So that's the first one. The second one, let's make a gray suit. So I'm letting in bleed, and then as you see, I'm not using, just using a big brush, and then I'm letting it bleed in. Let's put in my yellowish pant. Let's hand a little bit. And let's put in a nice green shoes. Why not? Just because I want to. And the same thing with the girl. Coming in. Blonde hair. A little bit of face. Okay, and creamish dress. It's a bit too dark. I'm going to just use the water to let it run. I'm okay with that. And a little bit of leg. I shall also put a little bit of water. Just a blue bag. I'll let it bleed in, but not too much. I'm happy with that. And next one. Let's do a brownish. And already has, let's make it the old lady. That's a bit too red, not to worry. I'm coming in, taking out, and also keep in mind the color usually drops, I would say about 20-30% by the time it dries. Okay, I'm happy with that. So the blue was a bit too much. I'm just taking out the blue. Did you see how I just took out the blue a little bit? While the paper is wet, I just took out a little more. And let's put in a cerulean blue hat. And a beige jacket, a little bit of color to his hand, and the beige with a slightly different tone continues. And he's got a nice formal shoes. The lady has a little bit of socks. That's fine. I will continue with the next. So this guy has black hair, and then it continues on his jacket. And he's got a black black pants, but why don't we make it as a jeans pant? Yeah, so a jeans pant, and it's got different shades of gray on his back. I'll just add a little bit of texture and detail. Just to give a little more interest. And I'll let a little bit of color bleed. And he's got okay, carrying on. Next person has blue stripes on his jacket, so let's do blue, let's do blue, and let's do blue, and then let's leave that way it is. And we'll do a little bit of lavender. Bear with me, it looks like I'm screwing it up. I'm not. It's just the way and let's do dark. And these are just simple sketches. Okay, and this is, remember from the previous video, if you haven't watched it, we're always trying to paint in 4 different layers. So the drawing, low tones, plus mid tones, plus any of the highlights. The drawing is complete, the low tones are complete. We're going to focus on mid-tones, and then if we add any highlights. Also helps us, we have a source of light. In this case, in the drawing, that's the light of source. And for this one, this is the source of light. Seems like that's the source of light. And for this one, it seems like that's the source of light. It always helps to put in an arrow mark just to know that's where the light is coming from. I'm going to use a slightly smaller brush. I will have some fresh paper and let's get on with it. Alright, so I'm going to come in. I'm just adding a little more highlight just to give a sense of shadow. Okay. See that? So and the front of the dress, obviously, and a little bit of a neck, and I will start. All right. So I'm happy with that. I'm going to just put in a little bit of details, and that's about it. Keep in mind this is just a sketch, okay, and that's a light source, so I'm just adding a little more dark skin tones. Okay, back. And at this stage I'm going to do the belt as well, and shadows for her skirt. And her chest a little bit, just to give that undercut. And if I come back and then I finish her strap. Okay, and now the guy. So, well, as I said, keep in mind this will dry and it will get and a little bit of gray, so lots of wrinkles. Okay. A little bit of texture and hair, and I would leave that there. Next, moving on, the old lady with the beige. So, a little bit of highlights, a little more water. So, almost there, bear with me. And the pant. Okay, and coming to a head, a little bit of shadow, and I will come back and then maybe draw shadow. And he's got a blue pattern going on. And his cap. And it's got a color. I will leave that. And the last couple. Let's add a little more details to and another path. And let's finish off this. Cheers. Same for just making it a little more. And I'm going to put in some details. That's it. And the drawing is not complete till you add a little bit of anchor. So for this one, I'll use a slightly bigger brush, depending on where your shadow is. I'm just putting in so there's just a little bit of shadow to give you the sense, and we'll just put in a couple of glasses. So why not? And a little watch. Those small details make a difference. Here we go. Simple side human sketches. Anyone can paint. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you please consider subscribing the channel and hit that notification button so that you don't miss a new video. Till next time, thank you. Hope to see you soon. Bye.